Cool. So guys, let me tell you. All right. So you guys, you ready? So let me talk about this. So we're doing dispositions, and this is just one way for everybody to be doing it. One of the amazing things about sorry, I'm trying to look something up real quick. So what we're talking about here is how to sell stuff like wholesale, right? But there are going to be a lot of times where you're going to have the opportunity to get some properties and there's just not quite enough spread. And I'm not going to talk about it here today, but again, another one of the things that comes from meeting a lot of people is I met this guy out of Phoenix, freaking amazing. I think you guys should all follow him. Actually, if you tag us and take a picture and tag him in this picture, it'd be awesome. His name is Corey Geary. You guys should be following him because he teaches novations. And that's not something I am even remotely qualified to teach, even though he's come here. And it's the Corey Geary on Instagram. Always wearing a black t-shirt. Amazing story. Guy started as a blackjack dealer and it just revolutionized real estate and taken that novations nationwide. So Novations Nation. But definitely be following him. He drops a ton of content on there, and I know he's watching, so that's why I wanted to give him a little shout out. So the guys that know him, he's an amazing guy. So if you're ever, it's just an additional exit strategy to kind of have in your tool belt. So, anyways, Corey Geary is awesome, good friend of mine. So you guys should follow him as well. So we've talked about this, other factors that have to be considered, functionality of the property. So now you've got a deal under contract, and we're going to blast through for the next hour. One of the amazing terms that I'd never heard before when I was first getting started in real estate in the Orlando market was that term, play all of your aces, right? So you've got a property under contract, Johnny, and you go to Ace and you buy one of those 9x12 for sale property, even for rent, right, if you're trying to rent it. And you go put that on a little stake, you hammer it in the ground, and you put your phone number, right? What's going to happen? Hopefully somebody drives by that house, but if it's that house that was on the back of the corner of the cul-de-sac, how many people are going to drive by there, right? You're marketing, you're doing marketing, but is everybody going to see that? I don't know, probably not, right? You're hoping to get lucky. So, dry mouth, excuse me. So, you're depending on happenstance for someone to drive by. So if that's your marketing plan and you wait 2 weeks, remember, you get 30, 60 days, and you're like, holy shit, that sign's not working. I better put it on Craigslist. So now, 10 days in, you're like, Craigslist ad. You're still not getting any calls. You're like, you wait, let that go 3 or 4 days. You're like, oh my God, Facebook. I'm gonna put it in Facebook Marketplace. But the point I'm trying to make is your marketing, if it just trickles out, by the time you get that property to the end of your contract, you're probably not going to have sold it. So the way that we treat all of our properties, everyone is like a launch, right? So as soon as we get the pictures back, we're doing everything we can to get it online, and then everything happens at the same time for us. Because here's the thing. Today, Brooke's got 5 properties. Next week, Mo's going to slam her with 3 more. And Andy's going to give her a couple more, right? So this week's properties have to be moved out. They're like old produce, right? Old milk. You ever go to the Walmart and you get dig around the back to get the fresh stuff? The old stuff is in the front because they want to get that moved out. Your properties are just the same. They're all just commodities to us. We've got to, I know this, they're real people and all that, but for us, we've got to move our properties because if you have a bad week and you don't sell properties, well, you have 10, now next week you have 18. Now you got a problem, right? And the only way through that problem is either you're working 24 hours or you're going to have to start discounting things, right? So, you have to play all of your aces and get these properties sold quick, right? So again, what do we do, right? So here's the checklist that we use. And where this came from was when we were at the old office and I was just starting to get some dispo people. Oh God bless it. Why is this thing? Why did we not do XXX, right? We're supposed to be doing 10 things and you're only doing 6, and never the same freaking 6 things, right? So this is what led to a checklist, right? So we're loading the property on our website, right? Whatever website you have, get them on the website, right? Make sure that the message is clear and all of the information is included so your buyer can make a decision. We're going to look at a couple bad examples here in 1 minute. You want to make sure you're emailing this property out to your buyers, right? We're collecting a buyer's list. You want to email it out. Make sure your title is catchy, right? Open up any of your email servers right now. You've all got 1,000 emails. It's got to be good. It's got to be catchy. It's got to be something that makes somebody want to open it. There's an old guy, Preston Ely, used to post like crazy stuff like, an elephant ate a potato in the bedroom. What? Like, I mean, off the wall shit like that. He was a great copywriter though, and he was a guy who invented first. He started FreedomSoft. But copywriting is a great skill. Like if there's one thing you should be grabbing a book to read on the way home, it's copywriting, how to write great copy. Because the biggest thing if you're going to use email marketing is getting that email open, right? Your open rate is really important. We'll look at emails here in a minute, but you need a good front picture of that property, right? It should not be a picture with somebody's finger on it, and if you're going to use a Google Street View, like at least zoom up out of the spot where it says Google, Move the little, don't get the arrow, Try to look like you put some effort into it, Because listen, it happens. We send people somewhere to go take pictures and they forget the front picture. Or the front picture's so shitty, it's got a car, it just looks like crap. And sometimes we have to use Google Street View, right? It happens. Yeah, good picture of the front, some basic info, pushing the customer to your website. You don't want to give them all the information. You want to push them to the website where there's more stuff, right? So, again, here's what we are doing. The minute a property comes to dispositions, we're approving it, go pay for pictures. While that's happening, Marissa is pulling a buyer's list, right? She's pulling part of it from InvestorLib. She's going to PropStream just like we did and pulling a list of cash buyers. She's taking those two lists, merging them together, skip tracing it. Now we have a list of people and phone numbers, right?
That's because you guys go into multiple markets, right?
Yes. But why would you do that anyways? I mean, I guess if you've got every buyer in Seattle, do you have every buyer in Seattle?
No.
There you go. And here's the thing, even though we have the best buyers list, like I think I've got a great list here in Chattanooga, I guarantee you Lee's got some people I don't have because people come in and out of the market all the time, right? There are always people emerging into your market.
We had two of my very, very favorite buyers in the entire world last month drop out of the market for two different reasons, and they'll be back in 4 to 6 months once they can rebuild something.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart for them, but it was also like, well, shoot, we sell them 6 deals a year. And I just lost half of that.
Yeah. So, another big lie that people will sell you on the internet is, Ricardo, you just need 6 buyers and you can make $1 million a year. Fucking bullshit. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. You are now those guys' employee. You are their employee. And there's a guy in Chattanooga that I will not sell to because he wants to pay $2,000 maybe on every assignment. A funny story, I sold him a deal downtown where we made $20,000 on. And he called me like 2 days later. It was like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, hey, Joe. I'm like, hey man, what's going on? Hey, I just wanted to congratulate you on that property. I'm like, yeah, I saw you made, he says, yeah, I saw you made $20,000. I'm like, yeah, listen, our acquisitions team did a really great job getting that at a good price. Oh, okay. I mean, I just want you to know I don't normally pay that. I'm like, okay, man, hey, listen, I appreciate doing business with you. We've done a bunch of stuff, but hey, our team does a great job on the acquisition side. Make sure you're getting a good deal. Okay. And after that, every single property, he was like lowballing me by 20 grand. So I finally just took them off my buyers list because you don't want to deal with those people, right? There are a lot of cash buyers out there. So one, you don't want to depend on 10 people because exactly what he just said. If I sell to Victor and Kurt and Johnny, like maybe they bought 3 houses last week and they're maxed out, right? I gotta find somebody new. I gotta find the new guy in the market, right? Because they may have all the properties that they can handle, or some catastrophe has happened, right?
Their faucet gets turned off with their funding source.
Yeah, exactly, right? That can happen. We've all got private lenders. I've had private lenders who are like, hey, I'm opening up a spa. I'm like, all right, that's what you want to do. Like, there's $400,000 that just went out of my piggy bank. So stuff happens. So you cannot just depend on 1 or 2 buyers or 10 buyers or even 15, right? So that's nonsense. When you see that, all those people, they're crazy and they're just fucking lazy. So you need to have the biggest possible buyers list that you possibly can. Every person you talk to needs to be entered into the system, and you need to be getting all of their criteria, right? The better information that I know that they want the blue house on the Red Hill, 3 bedrooms. When the blue house on the Red Hill comes in, I can search my database and pull that person out. So that's where we're talking about the postcard, right? That gets mailed out, and you call me and I'm like, hey, Jesus, that one's sold already, right? But hey, I've got more stuff coming up. What are you looking for? Tell me what you're looking for. Oh, I got some stuff coming up, right? Turn every one of those calls, right? You paid money. You did something to generate that guy to call in. So we need to make sure we're capturing that information. Don't just be like, yeah, that deal sold. Sorry, sucks for you, right? No, hey man, we gotta create a relationship here. I wanna get your information. I wanna get you put in the system. So, does that make sense? So again, deal comes over. Larissa, she's going out and she's pulling all the lists for buyers that she possibly can. Plus, we have a database, right? So we're pulling those, we're skip tracing them. Now we have a list, right?
Streams down.
And we all like to stay still and then jump to.
No, just don't give any gems yet.
I feel like we gave big gems already.
I know.
So let me run this by you because I think, well, I mean, honestly, it came from a podcast that I heard a while back, and I'm not going to make sure the names here, but I respected them very much, and I still, to this very day, respect them. Big wholesaler. But they talked about, if you know who they are, you know who they are. They talked about not being a cash buyer employee.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That really rang with me because I'm like, oh man, that's right. When you only have, because in the wholesaling, and I still to this very day, people talk about reverse wholesaling. So know who your buyers are.
There's people that talk about reverse wholesaling and they're 2 different things, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so just to clarify what reverse wholesaling means in this context is find your buyers, then find your leads, find your sellers. So then you can feed those buyers those properties. But that's a cash buyer employee, right? Meaning that I am working specifically only to this group of people, that's it. I am literally employed by them, only for them. I didn't like that model, and so I switched it around. The reason why we switched it around is because of life experiences. We experienced like people backing out of deals, or hey, there's only this handful of people, and that was it, right? But like, man, this is a deal. So we switched it on, like, okay, screw this. We're going to try to get the biggest buyers list as much as possible and grow it as much as we can. And now what we do is every deal we blast it out to all of them. So the 7,000 or 5,000 buyers, whatever we have, we blast it out to them.
2.5 million? Oh no, just in your
Well, no, not to the nation. But yes, you're right. With investor lift, you have that range. So we blast it out to them and say, hey, if you're interested, fill out this preliminary offer form. You gotta submit a preliminary offer. That's on every deal. And from that preliminary offer, we then select those buyers. Now that is radically different from when people are saying, hey, find your 14, 20 buyers and only sell to them. So I feel like those are at odds with one another. The downside to our process is that we're not necessarily building a like buddy-buddy relationship with those buyers. It's more transactional. That's the downside in a down market. You really got to know your buyers. But the downside with those niche buyers is exactly what I just mentioned. So I guess maybe help me understand if that's a good way to disposition deals or not.
No. So a couple things here. We ran a local model here, very similar to what some of the other organizations. Keegley tries here. Keegley runs it very effectively in Phoenix. I don't know how effective it's been in their other markets. New Western does an amazing job at it. We did it here very well. So we did have a personal relationship with all of our buyers, right? When we were just local, the 3 dispositions people, like they called every single buyer.
It was impressive.
Appreciate that.
I'll vouch for that. No, I blew my socks off.
Yeah. Like they never hear from people like, hey, hey Lee, I saw you're in our database. I'm with Chattanooga Property Liquidators. Hey, I just wanted to update my database and say, see what you're buying. What are you looking for? Is there anything I can
The
help
coolest
you
thing
with?
is you reached out to via text when they didn't have a deal they were shilling. It's the single coolest concept in the world. I'm not calling to sell you something. I'm calling to see what it is you're after.
Yeah, that was neat. So now that works. I don't know what is going on. That works really great on a local model. It's incredibly difficult to Jake, is this you?
No.
That's gonna be fun to sleep, Dave.
Stand up, man. It's very difficult to run on any kind of multi-market deal, right? It's tough. Unless, if you're going to do it, you have to be staffed like crazy. So you're gonna handle 2 cities, you're gonna handle 2 cities, you're gonna handle 2, you know, so if you're in 18 cities, you got at least 9 dispo people. And then, now you've got to do enough deals to keep them fed. So it's tough.
And that's the hard thing that I see with that. It's not scalable. If we're gonna go to multiple
That's why we stopped doing
states,
it.
it's not scalable.
It's not. That's exactly why we stopped.
We sold houses to people we don't even know what they look like.
Yeah.
That's how much we know them, right?
Right.
So it's becoming more transactional than personal.
I guess it's all type of flavor that you want to have in your business, because that's not a flavor in our business. And it sounds bad, but it works very well, because the cash buyers then have this perception of competition. When they know that, hey, I'm not the only fish in the pond, there's this competition. We can actually ask for a higher assignment, because like it or not, and some buyers really freaking hate it. And you take them out the buyers list, but they hate the concept of highest and best.
Oh, everybody hates it.
We don't do that.
That's why we buy it now.
Yeah, we
But
don't
honestly,
do it, yeah.
if I'm gonna get 100,000, you offer me 100,000, we're gonna take that.
We're dancing. That's it. Like, you tell me we're gonna go dance, that's it. Let's go dancing. So there's no, okay, I'm gonna wait on David and and everybody else. I was like, you tell me you want the property, let's go lock it down right now, and that's it. I'm moving on.
The only time we'll do that is if we get a bunch of online bids, which we don't really get that many. But we're not like market pros. We don't. But they're one marketplace, right? So we really hate to call you Victor, Lee, unless we have 2 offers that are the same amount. Then you got to do it, right?
Oh, we don't really, I mean, in the beginning, we weren't doing like, hey, Ricard offered me more, hey.
I don't do that. I don't like that.
We didn't do that before, but right now, the thing is, it's all negotiable. It's all negotiable.
Yeah, but in the future, think about the future.
Yeah.
Will the
That's not
market stay
true.
like that forever? No.
It's not as sustainable. You can
It's
do
not
it now
sustainable.
because it's a little bit crazy. But you're gonna have to.
And they will remember.
Yeah.
Because they might buy it right now because there's not much to buy. But in the future, when now you have all this extra inventory, they're like, I'm going to catch Victor back now.
Yeah.
Now it's my time to negotiate against them. So it becomes like that. So if you tell me you want the property and we agree on terms, that's what I'm asking, that's it. I'm moving on. We're not.
Working Olivia will come in and be like, hey, I know we're at 100, but I got this guy at 98. I'm like, is he serious? Is he ready to go? Is he put up EMD? Yeah, lock it in. Because, I got 30 properties on my board. I got to keep moving, right? I don't have all day to dick around with this one guy.
Yeah, I think we might need to switch our model, because it does take us some time to actually go through that. So I guess, but the other thing is we're not rehabbers, and that's the fact. We're not rehabbers, so we don't know our rehab numbers. And we don't know the exit strategies our buyers are having. So they could actually offer more than what we're projecting them to offer, right? So we build in a margin of like 25, 30, but time and time again, it showed because of our model that we've done, we've been able to get higher and higher assignment fees. There's one deal that I will never forget. We wanted 45 for it. Like, we're gonna get a 45 assignment fee. Ended up being 95. Because the buyer that got that property, he thought of a strategy nobody thought of. Wholesale.
Yeah.
All he did was just list it on MLS,
Yeah.
clean it out, bam. That was it. And he made 40 on it himself.
Yeah.
So that really changed my perception. Like, I could have been out like 50 grand because I went like, hey, first come, first served, you get it. That's kind of where I question that model.
Yeah.
No, but you gotta be happy for that guy making the 40K too. He'll come back to you every single time now.
Yeah.
Because it's like, man, every time I buy a deal from Victor, you see, you're thinking about yourself, but you have to also think about your buyer. If my buyers are getting filthy rich, guess who's getting filthy rich? We are, because we're
Well,
selling
true.
their
I mean,
properties.
yeah, the buyers there has to be meat on the bone. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's not a deal.
Because you can push that number maybe to 70 instead of 90, but you got an outlier guy, that was willing to pay more. Like, or we could all be in the buy it ourselves with cash. There's a lot of ways to skin the cat.
I would love to say it's an outlier, but
Yeah.
we, like Deborah's on this call, she can attest to you that yes, we definitely get higher than what we're asking for, and we've gotten 3 assignments this year. We got over 100,000. That's because of that model that we put in place. So it's unfortunately it's not an outlier, but I think we will need to pivot in the future. Is that the market will shift?
Dude, if it's working, you're making
It'll become a
300.
buyer's market.
Look,
Now
and
it's
you
a seller's
probably
market.
need to go the innovation route
Yeah.
as opposed to the wholesaling route. we just sold a house on an assignment that we're making 25 grand, when if we novated it, we could have probably doubled or tripled the amount of money. Right? But, and we knew that. But we weren't gonna hold off on that property for another 60 to 90 days when it got novated, when we knew we had a buyer willing to pay 25. For us, it's a volume play. It's not so much a how can I maximize.
It depends how your company's built, right? So we're built to be high speed in and out as fast as we can, right? Everybody along that thing gets paid in our company, right? So we can hold off and wait on a bunch of them. Maybe they get paid, maybe it falls apart, maybe they, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
It just depends on your model. There are a million ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, I just want to get your guys' thoughts on it, because I mean,
If it's working,
we're in,
keep
it's
doing it.
crazy hot.
Yeah,
Crazy.
we'd rather sell it fast, like, even if that means that there's more money gonna be made on their end, because we need to keep that machine running. This is a rat race. I mean, wholesaling is a rat race. I don't care what anybody thinks and says, you
It's
know.
a job, it's a hustle.
It
And I
is a
think,
hustle.
Ricardo, you said this is like build that relationship with the buyer. So Fies, who's on this call, he got that deal for 80 grand. Like it was because of him, because he also saw the deal nobody else did, and the way he did the buy now with investor lift. But he built amazing rapport with the end buyer, and they got to know each other so well. It was amazing. And so I'm like, man, maybe we are kind of missing out of some of the deals that we're doing, because we're not necessarily built on relationships. We're just built on the,
Yeah,
you know.
and we'll talk in a minute, or if we get to it today, it might be the morning, when we talk to like the buyers, call flow sheet that they get to. It's all about rapport. Like the last thing that they do is talk about price, right? So it's all about rapport. But generally we'll know, right? Like we'll know when we send out a property how good it's gonna be, on how many calls and emails and messages they get the first day. Like if it's blah, 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 like we know we have something hot. Like we'll treat that different than the property we sent out 3 days ago and it's crickets.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, you have to clutch and brake on your properties. If you send something out that I think is a great deal, and all of a sudden we get nothing, I'm like, girl, what's going on with this house? You getting anything? No. Maybe I need to take a closer
Yeah,
look.
we got one right now that we're like, man, let's make at least 2,500 on this thing, you know, like, it's a deal, but in reality, it's not that hot of a deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, that happens, right? So, and we'll talk a lot about too, like the stuff you're gonna learn in your company is never on the good deals. You're never gonna learn anything major on the 90.
That's the
Where you're gonna
major
learn
learning that I'm
is the
taking
ones that
forward.
go south, right? And that's where your acquisitions and dispo and marketing, everybody needs to be able to sit down and go, hey, what happened here? Not in judgment, but like, hey, this is what I was thinking, right? But dispo, they're actually the people with the tentacles into the market. They're like, hey, what side of Cleveland is good? What's bad? Tell me again.
East side of Cleveland is bad, west side.
Right.
I've been
So,
doing that.
so do you think Mo knows that? I guarantee you it does, right? Because they have to work together, right? So if dispo doesn't communicate with acquisitions and tell them, hey, if you're going to get, what side is it? What's bad?
East side.
East side. I told you I have zero memory retention. If you get something on the east side, go to your bottom and then go half. And then we'll take it. We'll go out there and we can sell it, right? But do not do the east side the same as you do the west side. So that's the type of stuff, like you should be keeping like some kind of record in your company of when you talk to people, what's good, what's bad. And dispo should be relaying that in some big Google Drive or something to acquisitions. So, oh, I'm in Cleveland. Let me pull up the Cleveland tab. These are my hot zip codes. Do not be in these zip codes. I'm not saying don't contract it, but you better be at 20% of what you would normally be, right? Because you can overcome a bad area with price. Make sense? Cool. So again, we take our list, we pull all of our buyers from wherever we're going to pull it from, whatever our source. We're skip tracing it. Now we've got a list of buyers and phone numbers, right? SMS blast, right? Easy. Text blast. What does your text blast say?
Say, hey, it's Brooke, are you still investing in Cleveland? If you are, I have a hot deal out there, and I'll put, like, with my Cleveland house, I'll put the closest hot neighborhood, so it's Buckeye Shaker area. So I'll say, I have a hot deal near Buckeye Shaker, if you're still investing, give me a call, if you're interested.
So what we're trying to do is get the phone to ring. I'm not saying, hey, it's at 123 Main Street, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, right? I want the phone to ring. Why? Because even if I'm not the buyer for Brooke, she wants my information. I want to get them in the system.
If it's cheap, I will put, like, I have a hot deal under 30K,
Sure.
Buckeye Shaker area, give me a call.
Right, again, we're built, so this goes to what you're talking about. I want them on the phone. What do I tell them all the time? Get people off of text as fast as you can and get them onto the phone. Right? You're not gonna,
That's what I didn't say. It's both. Like,
yeah,
it just you can still build rapport.
Sure.
In what 45 seconds
oh, they're
when that
amazing.
phone
yeah.
rings, based off of what you say.
Yeah, which one, you know, we have an office full of women because people would rather talk to women than they would me. I promise you, nobody wants to hear talk to my nobody ass all day, but they like talking to me. I mean, you're awesome. I'm not. Like, you know, I'm not. But you know, their disposition is a lot better than my grumpy ass, right? So we want to jump them off and get them onto the phone so we can get some information, right?
Yeah.
So
How do you feel about sending a link to the buyers with the text message?
you're gonna have a hard time texting
You
links.
do it on the follow-up.
You have to do it on the follow-up.
Yeah, you'll get bit.
Yeah, you can't do it on the initial, you get spam. But again, you call me. Yeah, I'm interested. Awesome. Hey, give me a call. I'm available right now. Get off of text messages. You're not going to sell on text messages. I did one the other day. We made 20 grand on it because I sold this guy 30 properties. Jurgen. He pulled it up in front of my house. He sends me a picture. Literally, it's a Facebook message. Is this the one? I'm like, that's the one. I'm like, you like it? He said, yeah. I'm like, I'll send you a contract. He's like, okay. I'm like, drop 2 grand key title on your way home. He's like, okay. And we were
Jurgen's
done.
my favorite.
Huh?
He's my
Jurgen's
favorite.
awesome. But I've done 30 deals with him and we have rapport. You are not texting a brand new buyer 99% of the time and selling that property. Get them off of text message. One, because people will waste your time all day. Because some people are bored and lonely. Brooke talks to a lot of lonely people. She's like dear Abby back there. Get off of Facebook Messenger, right? It's okay to generate the lead that way.
Yeah.
Hey, give me a call right. Hey, I'm at my office. Give me a buzz right now.
The problem I have with that is nobody wants to call. I'll
Then they're
tell
probably
them
not
to call,
serious.
And then they don't call.
Wonder why.
You said it perfect right there. They're probably not serious.
Yeah.
Onto the
Oh,
next.
why would
Yeah.
that be?
If they refuse to call, give them the link. Like I'm not saying don't give them the link, right? Give them the link. Let them log in. Get their information that way. But try to get them off the phone first.
But I'll send my text message of a new deal to my buyers list.
Mhm.
And
What's
you're
your text
saying
message?
don't
Just-
put the address in that?
No.
To my specific buyers.
If you want, you can do whatever you want.
Well, the thing
I'm
is-
trying to get my phone to ring.
I've switched it, I had to switch it up because I wasn't putting the address and they kept texting me, I need the address, I want the address. They wouldn't call me even though I said, call me. So I'm constantly texting,
Send it
so
to
I'm
'em.
like,
I'll
I'll
send it
just-
to them, you know. But eventually you've got to get them, unless it's somebody you dealt with, you got to get them off the text. Get them on the phone. You know? I honestly,
specific
I
buyers
am
that
the
don't.
antithesis of that. I would much rather text. I hate when people call me. I look at it and I'm like, honestly, if you're not stored in my phone, I don't pick up a call.
and I think that's kind of like demographic of
A
the
bit.
majority of the buyers.
Right. Well,
There's some that will call
Right.
or like to, others
if
just
you guys
don't.
haven't taken a disc test, Tony Robbins, go to TonyRobbins.com. It's
Yeah.
free. Take it. They're different personalities, right?
Right.
Everybody's got a different personality. Mine is I just don't want to talk to you. I would be the guy who would buy off a text, but I'm super rare, and that's terrible information to be giving you because I'm telling you to get them off the phone. But the other 3/4 of the people are going to buy off the phone. So if you can, at some point you're going to have to get them to the phone. So I always try to do it right away. So SMS, short and sweet, got a hot new deal. Because I'm trying to generate interest to get them either to call me or if I have to get them to the website. We're doing RVMs, right? Ringless voicemail. Do what your heart tells you, right? There's some risk in RVMs.
What platform?
Hold on. Sly Broadcast.
Fly?
I think so.
Yeah, Sky Broadcast is the best.
Is that the corporate one? Now they're more expensive. There are definitely cheaper ones,
They're the best ones.
but they're the most reliable. Actually, I think you have less risk doing it on the selling side than you do on the acquisition side. Olivia, what's a good RVM that you would do?
Hey, it's Olivia. I'm just calling to see if you're still investing in whatever city. I've got a hot off-market deal. And then, like, it depending on the deal, if it's a multifamily or something with a triplex, duplex, I'll say that. And then I'm like, if you're interested, please give me a call back for more details.
That's it. They're recording these. His voice memos on my phone. Email it over to Marissa. She loads it, press send, go. Now, high energy, you know, and we're going to start doing videos now too, where we're posting videos on all the groups. So
We got the ability to integrate our platform to an RVM, but I'm being hesitant because of all the, all the stuff that comes with RVM.
there's some issues.
Yeah.
Do it, don't do it. I'm just telling you, there are maybe some issues in certain areas, and I'm not an attorney. Didn't sit at Holiday Inn last night. So, also, we talk about social media, Facebook is the biggest platform out there, love them or hate them or whatever. You need to be posting to Facebook. So where are you posting? One, if you guys do not have a Facebook page for your wholesaling company, the selling side, do that tonight. Go create, right? So you need to have a place where you're posting your deals, right? So there's a couple things are going to happen. You're going to post it to your Facebook page, right? This is your company page. Okay. What do you get likes or follows or whatever it is, right? You all should go like my page. What happens when you like my page, Lee? You probably are on there.
Start to see it.
Pop up in his feed all the time. Didn't cost me anything, right? So every time I post, bam, I'm in his feed. Every time you comment on my post, pops in his feed again, which is again why you all should be commenting on people. I like and comment on Victor's shit all the time, right? Sometimes I don't even read it, but he's my friend. I want his shit to pop up. I like every single one of Ricardo's things. I've liked so many of Nick Perry's things. His shit pops up all the time.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, right. These are my guys. This is my tribe. I'm trying to help them. We all start doing that with each other. It's going to help. Hey, Victor, that looks like a great event. They didn't even watch all of this video, but I know that that's going to increase his engagement. So, anyways, so Facebook company pages. Yes, what? I'm going to have it done?
Yes.
Okay. So, Facebook, people like it, pops into their feed, right? Very simple. We all understand that. So, Olivia should be posting to her in her own Facebook page, sharing it to the company page, right? And then you take that company page, there's Cleveland investors, Ohio investors, Cincy investors. Now we're sharing to all of those groups, right? So what's happening? What do people do? They see it, oh, let me like this page. Oh, Olivia, she seems like a nice girl, let me like her. Now what's happening? It's like some cracks on a glass, right?
That's how you're getting your followers.
It's just like spider webs. Right? You gotta have a Facebook page. You gotta have a Facebook page for your company, and you need to take that, and that's what you're sharing into all of these. Right? And if you have Investor Lift, you can post your deal and post it immediately to Facebook, and then go from there and share it into any group. Right? Because the more of these people that like this, now they're in your ecosystem. And now every time now that they like, you see, right? This is not hard. You got to think it through a little bit, and somebody had to beat me on the head with a stick to get me to do it.
Now, some groups, make sure you read
Some
the
groups
rules,
won't let
but
you.
will get banned.
Yeah.
We're getting banned, blocked, kicked out, like, whatever.
Brooks been kicked out of the best groups there are.
I'm the scammer wholesaler.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I get banned from everything.
You guys are the worst.
Yeah.
She was in.
The scammer ones are the
My
worst.
email got deactivated this week, but I tried to fix it. That's it to me, and
I told her, I'm like, listen, if you ever come in or back from lunch and you can't get Investor Lift, you can't get Freedom Soft, your email's locked up, we should come down and talk. What happened is I was setting up Hannah's name, and you know, my computer was running slow, so I'm like clicking, and I didn't realize it had moved, and I deactivated her email real quick, not by accident. So I said, come on in, we have to chat. Straight up and fly right with you. And so yes, there are some groups that won't let you join as a page, right, or post in there from a page, but you have to post it from your individual thing. Content. You cannot only post deals for sale. You gotta post some content, right? People love, I'm telling you, the highest engagement you can go on Facebook. If I pull up our page, the highest engaged posts are pictures in the videos that we do here in the office. All right? We had Brooke do a cartwheel to ring the gong one day. Way better engagement than we're getting on any picture, right? People love to see behind the scenes stuff, right?
Well, it's also an algorithm thing.
I guess. I mean, I don't. You're smarter than me. But like, we have lunches, and we're like, "Hey, here's our team." Like, people love this. You ever? Like, this is why reality TV is so big, right? They want to see. They don't want the glitz and all that. They want to see what's really happening, right? I posted pictures all day of what's happening here, and it's good to be like
Well,
this.
you have an unfair advantage over some of us.
So, man,
You got some pretty dispo girls, and I got Caesar. Like, how do I do it?
Caesar be up there in the leopard thong, man. You gotta play the cards
Caesar,
too.
like, don't like, you know.
think you're exploiting the wrong buyers list.
That's right, dude. There's a buyer for everything.
And let's not even talk about Sangster, okay? I don't wanna do videos about him.
Whatever sells me.
Play all your aces, man. Play the aces you got. So you know, we love to post that behind the scenes stuff. You know, one day it was National Dog Day, and I had someone run around and gather up a picture of everybody's dog, and we post that, right? You know, her dog, her cat, whatever it is, right? You gotta have some content. It's gotta be enjoyable, and people will like your page because you're providing some content. It can't just be like properties all the time. So we get that.
What do you think about starting like a Facebook group page? for
Sure.
deals?
If you don't start one Chattanooga, please. We have like 5 investor groups.
Oh my
And it's the
God.
same freaking 90% of the people in all of them. Someone started one the other day. I'm like, dude, we don't need another group here. Like, we're a small town. We don't need 5 of them. But yeah, if there's not a good group in your area, you should start one, because owning the group is where all the power is, right? Because you talk about not being able to post someplace. Well, you own that group. Go like Burr. That's the one she was throwing out of Burr.
That's a good one.
It is a good one,
I like
and
the comments.
Yeah.
but you can't post in there. But what you can do is is you find the buyers.
Give the buyer.
Yeah. Oh, you guys want something
Wait,
good?
what do you mean you can't post it?
They don't let you post properties for sale.
They control the content.
Yeah, they approve posts.
Well, I mean, can you just like do something super generic? Like, hey, I
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You literally can't do that. You interact with the content they create.
What if you say like, you know, the best way to dispose a deal, here's the top 5 ways to dispose a deal. Or, and then you say, hey,
What's a big group in Ohio that you guys like?
As
A
far
lot of
as
these
the
groups,
investor
the
group
people
to
that own
follow,
them are the only ones that can
um,
create.
the
an
greater
original post. Then
Cincinnati.
you can interact. You can
Um,
comment. Yeah.
Dayton, Ohio,
Oh, I
it's
know.
off market.
Here, guys, let me show you something.
It sucks with there's no way it's on business to happen.
Okay, so Greater Cincinnati. You guys are just starting out and you want to build your buyers list. You got a VA.
8,000 is pretty good.
It's a pretty good group, right?
Yeah.
There's also somebody on the internet you could pay to do this and scrape it. I'm gonna search the group for gmail.com, watch what happens. Come on, that's not true.
They took it down, dude.
No.
Facebook has gotten smart.
The tab on the side.
Am I in the wrong spot?
No, go to the left column, well, you were right there.
I'm in the right place, right?
Yeah.
This is because you're not a member?
No, I'm a male, remember.
You see that tab on the left, Sadie?
Come here and show me.
Oh, the 3.
Oh, do I need to go to discussion? That's where it's at. Oh,
You might have to.
bam.
.com. You'll get more without
Yeah,
that.
that's
How about a round of applause for Brooke? Again, I tell people this all the time. This is,
Not just.
I have an amazing team. Who can't hire a VA to go through here and just click these and grab all these emails? You wanna know how I built one of the best buyers lists in Atlanta? 6,000 people in Atlanta. I sat at home at night while I was watching TV and did this. And then I took that list and people wanted to trade, and I used that list and I traded with a bunch of other lists. So,
Yeah, we built our first 25,000 people on doing just that.
yeah. So, what this did is this is pulling it, Gmail's most common, that's why we use that, right? So now I've got every post where there's at least some email. Some of them have way more than others. Because you ever been in a post where like 1 million people drop their emails?
I've been doing that, so like I'll take a few minutes every day and go through it and do that.
Yeah. So here they are. You could get a VA to do this though. But make sure you get Alex Navarrete, whatever. And then, because you do need for if you load it up into our system, InvestorLib, you do need first name, last name. And
Right.
you need either email or phone number. You've got to get something. But here you go. Like you can just hire somebody to do this, or your dispo team in between can be. These girls scour, right? So they'll go through and just look at how far back do you want to go? Forever. It just goes back to the beginning, right? So if you haven't, because all the other things we do, you skip trace gives you phone number and name. It doesn't always give you email. These are good emails, man. These are people that are looking to buy. You're gonna get some wholesalers in it too. I'm not saying you're not gonna get that. It's funny in Chattanooga, people post like, I got a deal, and it's like 9 wholesalers are the first people, and I'm like, So is that cool? That's pretty cool, right? It's a nice little hack for you that we came up with a year or two ago. So there you go. Let's one last thing about Facebook, and then we're gonna go on. I recommend we have all of our people create a work Facebook. Alright, here's the thing. Also in our company, we tell everybody when they're hired, we don't talk about two things over here. We don't talk about politics, and we don't talk about religion. Because what are the two most divisive things in our world? I don't care what side you're on, right? Like, we don't care. Like, when we had election last year, I told people, like, we don't talk about it here. I think you should vote. I'm gonna give you time off to vote. I don't care what side you're on. Everybody should take part in the process. And you should all go to church, but do whatever church you want, right? I don't care. That's not my gig. I can't tell you how many people have realtors that I see who are bananas during election season, posting crazy shit. And here's, like, what was our election? 52-48. So when you do that shit, you are pissing off half of the people out there.
Yeah.
We are in the sales and marketing business. You start posting, I love Trump, I love Biden, I like
I
Marshall
only do
Blackburn.
that when I want to get rid of friends on my friends list.
Yeah, problem is, yeah. So, we don't do that. Like, and the reason I have them make up a couple reasons. A work Facebook is because, one, I don't want to tell you what you can post on your page. You do that separate. Like, that's you. You do whatever you want to do outside. At work, we don't do that because that reflects on the company, right? And I don't care which side you're on. It doesn't matter to me, I promise you. But I don't want you to say something crazy and be running off customers, right? Because
Yeah, buyers will not buy, or
I'm-
sellers. If sellers are looking you up, and let's say you're talking to a Democrat, and you're all go for Trump, guess what's gonna happen? You're not getting a contract.
yeah,
Right? And either way, right?
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
100% it goes both
Yeah.
ways, right? So don't get in that business. Don't be in that business. Don't let that be your, you know. I'm not telling you don't believe whatever you want, but don't mix that with your work.
I actually don't follow people like that. Like,
I do. There are realtors that I won't work with that I will unfollow people because I don't want to see that bullshit on either side. I don't want to see the radicals on either side. My life is too busy. If you have time to worry about all that stuff, you need to get a real hobby and go make some money because you're not spending enough time working on your business.
That's great advice, by the way.
So, and the other thing is, like, I'm trying to think of the nicest way to say it. Girls, have you ever had some crazies send you messages?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
got some graphic photos.
So what?
Graphic photos.
So here's your thing, if you have ladies that work for you, you better 100% stand behind them, and what have I told them? Block that motherfucker right now. If anybody calls in or texts in, we put them in block through our system. We're done. We don't do that. I tell them, somebody, you just call me, I'll get on the phone and I'll have a conversation with those people. And then will be a lot different conversation than they're having with you. There are too many people buying properties in the world that we need to deal with that. We don't deal with that. Like, that's a core value, we don't do that. They're not gonna ever have to put up with that stuff. So, anyways, they can create a separate profile that they don't have to worry
We
about.
get
someone-
into the texting platform too.
Yeah, oh yeah, we get some
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
We've had texters that were in-house that would engage it and go back and forth, and you just can't do that. That stuff starts, block, we're done, we're moving on. We're not engaging that shit. So we've got our list, we're texting, we're RVMing, we're doing posts, we're doing emails, we're doing all that stuff day one, like minute one as fast as we can, unless somebody's slow on getting shit uploaded to the website right now. And what that is, we're doing all of that to generate inbound calls, right? Everybody in sales, you understand an inbound call is way better than an outbound call, right? So we're doing all of that from day one to, because we want the phone to ring, right? But we're not just gonna sit around and Brooke's not filing her nails over there just waiting for the $1 million call to come in. So in between, now we're taking that list and we're making outbound calls. We're playing all of our aces because I've got to sell this property because there's more coming tomorrow. Right? We're also posting to Craigslist. I know, old school. Randy, how many old guys run around and still check Craigslist every day? Do we sell 1 or 2 properties a month off Craigslist?
They get more buyers from Craigslist than
I'm
from
telling
Facebook.
Yep. It's crazy because the serious big old timers are there. That's where they're at because they're resistant to social media. So they're trolling Craigslist every day. There's no more hookers on there, so now they got
We actually avoid Facebook to the fullest. Like, if we can not post on Facebook, we will, because most of the snakes are on Facebook.
There are some, sure, but that's why we don't post address or anything.
Yeah.
You know, we use our investor lift to post. They got to log in to. We want some hurdles to be there. For
Yeah, at
them
least
to
you
get-
track them.
Have you ever had any issues on posting to Craigslist where, you've gotten, people poaching your deals?
Sure. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Yeah, I mean, we're running a high volume wholesale. Absolutely, it's gonna happen. Can you memo every property? Absolutely not. Cost you a fortune.
It costs too much.
Cost too much. It's gonna happen. It's cost you doing business. You know, try to avoid it as best we can.
Yeah, you gotta deal with the losses too. Yeah.
Depends on the county, 80 to 100 bucks. It's a lot.
I mean, it's not that much. It's an insurance policy.
Yeah, do that 40 times in a month, and then it starts adding up.
Yeah, because we're closing 100, but we maybe put 150 on it. You know, it's a lot. I mean, you gotta pay someone to do it. You know,
Yeah,
the people down at the end of the hall take your money. And
And the
they'll file
notary,
it.
you gotta pay the notary as well.
Yeah. So you can do a unilateral, you can do a notice of contract. Is it perfect? Can they still close around it? Absolutely. If Ricardo puts a notice of contract on your property, but then you call me, I'm buying cash, I don't need title insurance, I can close right around this thing. So, is it perfect? No. Are you gonna lose some? Yes.
Yeah,
I'm long past getting upset about that. I've been doing this for a long
I've
time.
closed on properties with memos on it.
Sure.
Like I'm the buyer.
Yeah,
Like
you
I
can
can care less about a memo.
You can close right around it.
Yeah.
The only thing you can't do is you can't close a loan on it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, I memo Victor's property and 6 months later, he's trying to sell it on MLS. I'm getting a nasty call from an attorney, what the fuck is this thing? You need to release it right now. You know, so I've sued a guy here in town, Randy knows, who memoed one of my properties and the title company missed it, and then I couldn't sell it. And you know, all this nonsense that the gurus say, like, if you have equitable interest, you're good. I can tell you, I stood in front of a judge where the guy tried to pull that bullshit with the judge, and the judge was like, show me where you had the money in the bank and you were ready to close on the day of the contract. Well, Ron LeGrand told me. And I don't think it was Ron LeGrand, but it was somebody, one of those guys, right?
Right.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is like if it's a deal, then yes, put money in the bank, or sorry, in the escrow, have the funds, from what I heard, is actually fund the deal on closing day, say, hey, I was ready to close, then you can withdraw your money back.
Yeah.
If it doesn't close.
Yeah, because if you're
that
standing in
shows
front of a
proof
judge,
Of intent.
you're gonna have to prove that you were ready to go, and that you deserve to. And listen, a lot of us put memos on. We don't memo everything, but we occasionally throw one on there. But you're gonna have to stand in front of a judge, and I had equitable interest is not gonna fly. I've seen it happen, and it happened fast and hard. That guy paid my court costs, his court costs, everybody's court costs. It was very expensive for him. And you know, wrap of the gavel, his shit was off. But it took me 4 months and cost me a fire on that deal. So don't memo stuff unless you're gonna do it. Go through with it. And if you don't go through with it, you need to release that memo too. So post your deal to Craigslist. Bandit signs, man, I'm telling you, if you're working local or you're driving to see that property, take some blank bandit signs with you and have them pre-written. Hey, hot deal. You bring a couple of those in real quick. You know where they're at? Middle closet. I'll show you real fast. When we were local, hyper local here, like we had a plan. Like the property was here, we put bandit signs at all the intersections around. Me and Randy used to be out till 3 in the morning doing bandit signs. Like that will sell your deal. Like a bandit sign, hey, discounted property with a red arrow. I'm telling you that nothing works as good as that, right? Because that's somebody literally driving in that neighborhood who maybe has a rental or is going to his rehab, and those bandit signs will work. Can you do it in Phoenix? Not unless I got to talk to my boy Corey and I know we're putting some signs up, right? So bandit signs work really, really good. You'll be like Vanna White. So these are some old signs that I actually had. I thought I had more, but I guess when we moved, I got rid of a lot of them. House for sale, only $35K. Brooke's favorite number.
Oh, the cash buyer number.
For some reason, this number is every place in Chattanooga, and poor Brooke gets calls from it every so often. But we had signs printed, houses for sale, investor liquidation. Right, that's what we do, right? 855. So I went and got an 800 number because when our deal was we were gonna use JV partners in other markets. I was just gonna send them a box of these and they'd go put them out. Didn't ever happen, but I got a bunch of signs. Houses for sale, kind of looks like it's handwritten, but it's really not. Also, handwritten signs produce way better than printed signs like this. I mean, why? I don't know, but they do. because they think it's like a real person, so.
Well, it depends on the demographics. So the handwritten ones work better in low-income areas. The printed ones work better in the higher-end areas.
Yeah, my guys, and here was one that I had printed to run around and do like 2-bedroom, 3-bath, asking, cash buyers only, right? So if you're in a local area where you have the ability to do this, these work really good. This was how we built our buyers list here in Chattanooga. Because again, it was in the beginning times before skip tracing and all of that. Like this is it. Like I ran out, when Randy was with it, we put cash buyers or cash buying signs out on a Friday night. We did 100 every single week, and putting out 100 signs is a lot of work if you haven't ever done it. It's a lot of work. And then during the week, we were running around putting these properties out, signs like this out. I actually put some banners away. We were going to hang them on the door, but like we put banners on the front of our properties. Like people drove by, and we captured them just because they were driving by our house, and there was a banner on the front. It looked like a used car lot if the seller didn't live there, if the house was vacant. And we would always ask, like, here's a little tip for you, like, hey, Lee, man, I really, like when I'd go over there, hey, I really appreciate you meeting me. Hope it wasn't a long ride. No, I live right around the corner. Yeah, it took me about an hour, but it's okay. Hour away, dude, he's getting like 6 signs in the front yard and a banner. Next door guy, grandma lives next door, not getting the banner, right? That's a little trick how you do that, right? So I've sold countless properties where I'm like, oh great, how'd you find out about this property? Oh, I just drove by and saw the banner. You might not catch that person anyplace else, right? So much. Big round of applause for Heather.
Yay.
They all hate that, so I'll pay the price later. So bandit signs are awesome. Text blasting local agents. You can go right onto Realtor.com, Zillow, and look for buyers agents, and you can pull those people up and send them a text blast. We don't do it on a general everyday property unless that's kind of like a second tier of really struggling with this. What can we do? So you can go pull agents' phone numbers. You can also just buy a list if you want for your state. There are plenty of data providers that sell you a list of all the realtors in your state. And then we talked about postcards. Those postcards were really good for building your list, right? 2 ways to think about building your buyers list is we talk about building like a global list. We're always building our buyers list, right? Facebook page, go to the, every post is, hey, check out this great 2-1 in Cleveland. Go to nationwidepropertyliquidators.com for more information, right? We're also doing posts like investment properties dirt cheap in Ohio. Go to nationwidepropertyliquidators.com, right? So one's like a general list building email or a post, and the other one may be more specific. So, but anyways, postcards are really great. Again, so that's like the top 10 things that we do on every, pretty much every single deal. But then there's always those things where it doesn't work. And the girls are like, nothing's working. I'm like, shit, what are we gonna do? So we've sort of got that like second and third tier of things that we'll do. Calling local agents. So when we pull that first list, right, we're pulling maybe just a radius around the property, half a mile. And how far out that radius goes, right, when we understand how the radius works on PropStream or whatever you're using for your comping. Like we're looking to get 75 to 100 buyers, right? So if I can get 75 or 100 here, 0.5, 1, 3 miles, right? However far out we have to go, that's how far we'll go. If you gotta go out 15 miles to get 75 buyers, you're probably gonna struggle with that one. But man, if I can get 100 buyers within half mile, we're selling this thing today, right? Because that means there's a lot of cash buyers and we picked the right area. We picked a zip code, everything has worked. Oh, okay, sorry, I forgot where I was. So, but sometimes like none of that, we do all that, it doesn't work, right? So let's say your house, right? Your house is on this street, we've gone out 10 miles, we still can't find a person. Because what we're doing here is we're pulling cash buyers within the last 6 months or 1 year, right? And we've called all those people, or we've gotten a hold of as many as we can, and that doesn't work. Now we're going to PropStream, we're drawing a box. Or we'll go house by house, and we're just looking for absentee owners, right? This is, you've got a problem, we need to sell our property. Like this is we're digging the third trench here, trying to figure out a way, but we'll pull a really tight radius and pull all absentee owners. Hey Victor, I saw you got a house over on Main Street. You bought it about 3 years ago. Man, are you looking for any more? Because I got a really cheap one that I'm looking to get rid of. All right? I didn't say I'm selling anything. Words matter. I got this deal that I'm trying to get rid of before I throw it on MLS. So that's sort of like a, when you really start getting desperate, just pull all absentee owners in a small radius and start calling them. Don't do that first, right? Let's just pull people who are recent cash buyers. And that's sort of one of those like backup, like holy shit, we've tried this for 5 days, nothing's happening. Absentee owners, 10 years if necessary. Text and call them. Manually, we'll skip trace LLCs and corporations. We showed you how to do that. Randy's going to talk a little bit about this tomorrow. Property managers, right? Who do they deal with? People who own properties, right? You should have a relationship with property managers in town. That guy Jurgen, he's a property manager. He owns, he manages. He has a bunch of his own properties, but he also manages. Like you should be calling Randy in your town and going, hey man, you got any buyers that are looking for any more properties? I know you're a broker, because you've got to be a broker to be a real property manager. I'd love to pay you 3% if you can bring me a buyer. Right? Create a relationship with those people. You should also explain to them, like, hey, you should also be talking to your people and saying, do any of you want to offload some of your properties, right? We've got some buyers, so build those kinds of relationships, property managers. And if you're, really outgoing and you want to do Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, connected investors, there are a lot of other social media sites, right? But everybody knows the 80-20 rule, 20% of the things are going to give you 80% of the results. Like Twitter is not going to be your A item. Like that's not your ace. Posting to Twitter, don't feel good about it. I posted a deal to Twitter. When you're desperate, you're posting on Twitter, right? But Facebook, maybe Instagram, if you've built that kind of a following. I don't know if you're selling too many. TikTok is not the place to go sell properties.
No,
you want to be a
have to
coach, you should be on TikTok, like doing videos and stuff. Who's that guy? Kang, right? If you're on what's his name?
Kang Lee.
Kang Lee. God, show me who's got my money. Right, he's great. You should be following him.
He's actually in Washington.
I know. Do you know him?
I know the guy, yeah.
Yeah. And somebody said he wasn't a big personality. He went to CG and somebody told him you got to start posting. Like he was a little bit shy and reserved. And
I mean, he started as a flipper.
Yeah.
I think he started as cleaning. Yeah, he was cleaning like houses, like whatever, right?
he's got an amazing story where he shows the video like, I used to live in this shack, this shed behind the house.
It's crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
So when he just got started, he gave a presentation at the local REIA. I was like, dang, I got inspired by his story. I was like, honey, this is possible. Because he made $100K on his deal.
Yeah.
$150K on this deal where he put $100,000 non-refundable earnest money on it. Burned house was completely burned down. Then he got out of the flipping game and got into wholesaling because it's way more lucrative.
Yeah. He's making a lot of money on coaching and affiliates,
Yeah,
but he does still
he's-
wholesale and stuff.
I think I see less and less of his deals, but he's very, very niche in our market. He's only doing North Washington. That's
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah.
So anyways, but I don't ever see him post a deal in North Washington. What he's doing on TikTok and all that stuff is building his brand and his coaching, right? So again, that's the thing we were talking a little bit earlier about. Shit. We're gonna wrap it up here in about 3 minutes. I don't know what's left. Oh, good. We're gonna be in the contracts tomorrow. In fact, I think that's almost the next thing. Oh, maybe not. All right. How about we start at 9 tomorrow? Everybody want to start at 9 instead of 9:30?
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
Because Randy, he's got some good stuff that he's going to talk to us about tomorrow. So does that give you a good blueprint of like, these are the things you should be doing on every single deal? Like, here's what I'm also going to do. I'm going to dump a bunch of this stuff into a Google Drive so that you can print it out. Because we're going to go through contracts and a lot of things. And for everybody that's watching, I'll have that Google Drive for you so you don't have to pull it out. What I put in here, because we're going to go through like the contract, I want you to be able to circle it. Don't worry about messing that up. So, but you've got to have a plan. Whatever your plan is, you've got to have a plan. Remember, simple is scalable so that your team members that you hire, your VA or whoever it is, knows what you expect from them. So, hey, here's the deal. Here are the things that I expect to be done. Like, they better be done, right? Because we got to move this deal out because more are coming. Any questions? All right. So for everybody that's watching, we're going to start. I know everything I sent out's at 9:30, but it's going to be at 9 o'clock tomorrow. So if you guys want to come in about 8:30, we'll have some breakfast same as today. We'll get started as quick as we can at 9 o'clock. We're on slide number 40. We got 23 to go. It's all right. We'll go a little quicker tomorrow. Because tomorrow we're gonna talk a lot about actual marketing and contracts and then KPIs and stuff, so I don't wanna short any of that. So questions, comments, stuff you wanna make sure we cover tomorrow that we haven't.
What's your deal fallout rate?
30 and change. Used to be 50. So virtual, again, is a different market, right? So you're going to a town, you don't always know, right? You just don't always know.
I know it's a broad question, but what's the main contributor to the fallouts?
Not getting good
Price.
information from the seller, right? Not that you didn't do the comps right, it's that you didn't get you did the unknown variable you didn't get.
Mhm.
And generally, we find that as soon as we get the pictures back.
Mhm.
All right. Condition, we're pretty good at location and underwriting. Like we pretty much stop it. First thing I always do, and everybody on my team, like now they do, is like, when you bring me a property, I like go past everything right to the street view and I go in a circle. Right, that's the first thing I look at. So, yeah, it's condition, unknown condition, which, you know, all we can do is ask people. Like if they asked and they didn't get it, then what can we do about it, right? There's not a lot we can do. Did we ask and get pictures? That helps. That helps a ton, right? But sometimes people lie to you, sometimes people don't know. Like we did one the other day with Google Street View. White house looks okay. Like we actually got the pictures and you could barely see the white siding behind all the bushes and trees because the seller hadn't been there. Like,
It was bad.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
But ours is less, but we're real good at keeping them long term.
Yeah.
So if we can't sell a deal, I mean, we're going to be keeping that deal for 6 months if we can, even more time. So we keep them engaged.
Yeah.
We just closed on a deal we have on the contract for 2 years.
And that's gonna depend
How
on
is that
your,
possible?
so that's gonna depend on your seller too, right? You need to understand like what their reason for selling is. If it's a vacant house that's just sitting there, you can extend them out forever. If it's somebody who's selling their house to move to Florida from Michigan, like that, those people
Yeah.
are on the clock.
That-
You're not
that
gonna be
was
able to
our
extend
case.
that person out for
It
2
was a
years.
vacant house, he was in San Antonio, 302 East Fest, out on the contract forever.
Yeah.
That property was almost impossible to sell. I sent it to every wholesaler and their mama. They couldn't do it. And something changed on the market, and guess what? I have multiple buyers this year
Fighting.
fighting
They
over the
lost
property.
fighting for the.
Yeah.
But I had it for 2 years on the contract, and the buyer was, the seller was willing to work with us. We get a lot of those, believe it or not.
Yeah, so it just always will depend on what's your relationship with the buyer.